congratulations for you. But then I kind of looked at my own life and I'm just like, sis, what you doing? Hey friends, it's your girl Jaimee Deon and welcome back to my channel. So I've started something called a Girl Talk series. This is basically our little safe place where we can come, we can tell stories, talk about different life topics, and really just get to know one another. I want to get to know y'all, I want y'all to get to know me, and we'll be one big happy family. So if this is something you're interested in, then just keep watching. So before I hop into the video, I just wanted to remind you all to please subscribe down below, join the family, go ahead and thumbs up the video because I'm thinking you're gonna like the content, and go ahead and turn on those post notifications so that you can be notified each and every time I post a video. So now that that's over with, let's go. So the first episode of Girl Talk is going to be talking about feeling behind in life. We're going to be talking about feeling unmotivated, feeling unsatisfied where you are now, and reaching goals. So I wanted to share a story with y'all about a time when I just pretty much felt at my lowest point. I was just very unmotivated, unsatisfied with life, just very down. I mean, for lack of a better word, just very down. I kind of lost my direction, kind of lost my way, and it just wasn't a fun time. So it's something I've been wanting to talk about and share on my channel for a while. So now that we got this girl chat going, let's talk, sis. So here's the deal. When I turned about 20 years old, I had been in college for a couple years, but the major that I was in, it wasn't working for me. So I decided to start all over and change my major to nursing. So I completely switched schools, I switched my major, and so when I initially went into it, I had a goal in mind. I knew what I wanted to do, I knew the steps to take, and I was okay with it, and that was that. The thing is, when I actually got into it and I looked around, and I'm just like, I really started all the way over, and I really gotta deal with this and work my way back up to where I once was, and then some. It just kind of became a lot. Everything was going pretty much okay, and then I turned about 21 at this time. So you know, 21 is just such a pivotal age once you hit it. This is typically the age where, you know, everybody that went to college and picked a major and stuck with it, this is the time where they're graduating, they're getting their dream jobs, you know, and they're just doing big things, living it up, what I was supposed to be doing in my mind. So I see that and I'm like, okay, you know, congratulations for you. But then I kind of looked at my own life and I'm just like, sis, what you doing? So at that point in time, I was basically trying to rush the process, rush the glow up. Like, I knew what I wanted to do, I knew that this new major would be better for me, more beneficial, but in my mind, you know, the mind of a 21-year-old, I'm just like, no, I'm behind, like I'm falling behind. What is going on? And you know, we live in this social media world and age, okay? So it was like every single time I clicked on Instagram, Facebook, whatever, I'm just seeing pictures of everybody in their cap and gowns, and you know, their offer letters from their jobs. And I never considered myself like a hater or nothing. It's like, I'm proud of you, congratulations. But then I just kind of looked at my own life and I started to do something that's really negative, which is compare. And what they say is true. Like, comparison is 1000% the thief of joy. Never allow yourself to get into a state where you're comparing yourself to somebody else, because you don't know what that person went through before they got to where they got. You know what I'm saying? I didn't know the backstory behind all these other people's accomplishments. I didn't know what they had to go through to get there. All I can see is their social media page, which is basically their highlight reel. You know, people aren't posting their downfalls on social media, which I can't blame you, but I'm just saying we're only getting a glimpse into the piece of their life that they want to show you. You know what I mean? So back to the story. I just started to get really down about that. Like, you know what? Whatever. Stick with it. Get over it. I wasn't over it, but I just kind of had to push through. Fast forward, I'm about 22 at this time, and now I finished all of my prereqs for nursing, and it's time to apply to nursing school. Okay, cool. So still, you know, still and yet at this age, I'm still seeing more and more people, more and more people. They're graduating or they're getting engaged and having kids, and you know, I was still doing something I should not have been doing, which is comparing myself to them. But that's just what it was, you know. I was just really feeling behind in life, like I was missing out on something. So I finally got to 22 and I was done with everything. Only thing I had to do was take my entrance exam. I had changed my major to nursing. So with nursing, after you take your prereqs, you have to take an entrance exam, which is called a HEYY. And this test basically gauges how ready or not you are for nursing school. And you need a really competitive score on there before any school will even consider you. You got that backstory, right? Right. Okay. So I'm done with everything. The only thing standing between me and nursing school was this dreaded HEYY exam. So I'm like, whatever, you know, I'm gonna take it, I'm gonna pass it, and I'm gonna go to nursing school, and I'm gonna be on my grind. That's what I'm thinking at the time. I was completely done with the school aspect, so I went and picked up a job to keep me busy while I was studying for my entrance exam. I have no degree at this point. I have no experience in anything except for like retail, which I hated. So you can imagine the kind of jobs that I was working at this point, one of them being a call center. So I pick up this little call center job. I'm like 22 at this point and making a little to nothing at this call center job, but I'm just like, you know, whatever, I'm keeping my goal in mind. I gotta do this until I pass this test and I'm out of here. Peace. So I'm working this job that I pretty much hate and I'm like, okay, you know, whatever, let's just work this right now while I study for my test. So I'm studying, I'm going hard. So I thought I'm just studying, and I'm like, okay, I finally feel okay about it, and I go and book my test. So I go and take my test, and I get the scores back. And if I remember correctly, it was, oh, I'm gonna tell y'all my score. Oh, wait, should I share that? I'll tell y'all, you know, it's a part of my story, whatever. So I take my HEYY, my entrance exam, the most important test there is, you know, the test that's standing between me and nursing school. And you get the grade back immediately. As soon as you like enter your last answer, your grade pops up on the screen. So I look at the screen and I see 71 out of 100. And I looked at it and I was just like, I just had to look around like, who test is this? Because this ain't my test. Like 71? What? Like, what nursing school am I getting into with a 71? Like, who, where, when, and why? Y'all, that broke my little heart, okay? That humbled me. Like, that broke me down. I'm like, because mind you, I never really struggled in school. I wouldn't say I had it easy. Like, I wasn't just an A+ student in college or anything like that, but I could easily, you know, get B's and easily pass. If I'm studying, if I'm doing what I need to do, I'm getting the results. That's what I'm used to. So imagine my surprise when I see this, what is that, a D? When I see this D come across my screen. So I wasn't completely broken at that point. At that point, I was just like, you know what? I mean, I was down for a little bit. I kind of had to pick my face up off the ground and put it back together and then place it back, you know, where it belonged. And I kind of had to pick up my pride and all of that. I had to pick it up, but I did. I picked it up and I was like, you know what? It's okay. Let's go back to the drawing board. So I gave myself 30 days. I said, I'm going to study hardcore again for a month. And then I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna take this test and I'm gonna beast it. That's what I'm saying. So I studied for exactly 30 days. Like whatever the first day I took the test, 30 days later, I was back at the same place to take this test. So I've been studying, I've been going hard. I got a stack of note cards up to here, okay? And I'm like, let's do it, let's get it. Y'all, I kid you not, I take this test 30 days later. I put my last answer in. My score pops up on the screen. Y'all wanna know what it said? Y'all wanna know what it said? 72. I went up an entire point. 1 point. 1 point in 30 days when I'm telling you I've been going hardcore studying. And so at this point, I'm just like over it. At this point, I'm over it. I'm over it. I am over it. I am up to here. You know, you have now broken me twice. I have now let myself down twice. And I just started to go into like this negative just spiral. I started to have a lot of negative self-talk, you know. Maybe, you know, I started thinking crazy things like, okay, maybe I'm not smart enough for nursing school. Maybe I should have changed my major. Maybe, you know, maybe this just isn't for me. Maybe I should do something else. Like it was just really just negative. I was negative Nancy, like for sure. And I'm not happy about this. You know, it's a character flaw. But something about me is like when things aren't going my way per se, like if I feel like I'm doing my best and I'm doing what I have to do, and their results aren't reflecting that, I can kind of go into this negative spiral like, okay, well, deuces, like, you know, it ain't for me. I was just like, you know what, forget it, okay? Forget it. It's forgotten. I'm over it. I'm done. Like, just real bratty. So at this point, I can say I had completely basically like lost my way. I had completely thrown in the towel. I gave up and I was just like, you know, I was basically doing everything except studying. I found myself going out a lot. I was going out, I was partying, I was turning up, you know. I was doing everything except for what I needed to be doing. And baby, let me tell you something about time, okay? That time, he, she, it waits for nobody. No man, no woman, no child, no cat, no dog, okay? So while I'm doing all of this, time is just moving. Life is just passing me by and I had nothing to show for it. But almost a whole year had passed by this time. And like I said, I'm working a dead-end job. And mind you, I hated this job. Like, I hated it. I just always felt like there was more for me. I mean, no disrespect to anybody that works at a call center. This is no disrespect. This is not talking down or whatever. But the life that I saw for me, like, that was just not it. I just saw myself doing bigger and better things. You know, I always was very goal oriented. I always just saw my life, you know. I always just saw myself in a career where I was happy, that was fulfilling to me. And, you know, a call center just wasn't that for me personally. I don't know exactly what it was. I think the Lord just rained down on me and woke me up one day, because I just remember being at work and I was just looking around. I was just looking at everybody there. And it was just a lot of older women, like, I mean, older. They were like 30s, 40s, 50s. And they had all been there for like 10, 20 years, you know. So for them, this was their bread and butter. This was their end all be all. You know what I mean? And I just remember looking around and being like, if I don't get my stuff together, and soon this is gonna be me, you know. I'm gonna wake up and be here for X amount of time. From that point forward, like, that was just the biggest wake-up call ever. I mean, it sounds small, but it really just shook me. It woke me up and I'm like, you gotta get it together. You gotta get your stuff together. you got to get on your grind and do what you got to do. I had to pick it all up, pick it up, pick it up, pick it up, put myself back together once more. And I just had to basically go back to the drawing board. So I said to myself, I'm like, what needs to be done so that this is the last time that you take this test and that you are successful this time around? So y'all, I went hard, like hard. I started researching, you know, how to pass HEYY. I was on YouTube looking up videos. I was on different blog sites. I mean, anything I could put my hands on, I was there trying to figure out, you know, what is it that I need to do. So a big part of my test that I was not successful in was the sciences. And hello, nursing, science, like that's the part I needed to be the best in. So the science in particular that I kept messing up on was anatomy and physiology. Okay, A&P. So I just kind of had to be real with myself and say self again, and myself was like, huh? And I was like, self. Okay, friend, self, friend. You don't really know A&P. And the reason being is because, like I said, school pretty much came easy for me. And then also at this college that I was at, or this university that I was at, we had resources. Okay, I'm not gonna get into what kind of resources, but we had resources. So if you're following what I'm saying, you know, if you're picking up what I'm putting down, if you're catching what I'm throwing, then we can continue. So I had resources in college, and I used those resources for anatomy and physiology. Okay, which meant that I wasn't learning anything. It was more of like a memorization thing. And then after I took the test, boom, knowledge went out the window. So if you look at my grades, it's looking like, okay, she knows something. But in real life, she ain't know nothing. So I just kind of had to be real with myself. And once I figured out that that plays a big part in why I'm not successful on this test, I went back to the drawing board. So I said, okay, I have to retake this class, like if it's the last thing I do. Mind you, this place was so far from my house, but I didn't care. I'm taking this man's class, y'all. I'm showing up to class. I'm the first one near, the last one to leave. Okay, I'm in the front row. I'm asking questions. I'm staying behind. Like, I was just so dedicated and so determined to get the heck out of there, because I was just tired of my situation. And I genuinely believe that once you get fed up, once you get tired of something, it's gonna change. Okay, you gonna change it. So what I did was I made myself a promise, and that promise was that I would not make 1 year at that facility. Because y'all, I was literally, I mean, I don't know if I've said it already, but I was miserable at that job. So anyway, I'm taking the class and I'm actually learning the stuff this time. I'm learning it, I'm getting it. The pieces are connecting, the dots are connecting, and I'm just like, I'm killing it. I'm killing it. Okay, so fast forward through all of that. I take the class, I pass it. I want to say I got an A. If it wasn't an A, it was a very high B, but forget a grade. Like, I was actually understanding, and I was just able to really connect dots in ways that I wasn't able to do before, because I just didn't have the foundation. That's what it comes down to. I did not have the foundation that I needed to be successful on this exam. And it shows. So after I took the test, I went back to the drawing board with studying, and I was like, okay, I have to do something different. At first, what I was doing, I would be working for like 8 hours a day, and then I would come home and try to study, but I would just be so tired all the time, and honestly, I would end up probably falling asleep. It just wasn't working what I was doing. I had to change every single thing. So when I tell you I was dedicated, I was dedicated. So at a call center, we're working from computers. I would have my work stuff on one tab, and then on my other tab, I would have my Quizlet going. In the next tab, I'll be doing practice questions. I would literally have my books in front of me. Like, I was not playing games, okay? She was ready to go. On lunch breaks, I wasn't eating. I was eating them notes. Okay, we had hour lunch breaks then, so I would literally spend my whole hour reading, studying, taking notes. When I would go home, I would study some more, and then I would go to sleep and do it all over again. So I kept that mindset, I kept grinding, and y'all, in the meantime, while I'm doing all of this, I'm still having to see more and more people, you know, more and more people being successful and reaching their dreams. And then it was like people around me in my close circle, you know, it just seemed like everybody except for me was moving up in life. You know, I just felt really stagnant and really just behind. I just felt so behind. That's the best way I can describe it. But anyway, back to the story. So I'm feeling okay. I got to the point where I'm feeling like, okay, maybe I'm ready to take my test. So I will never forget this day. I scheduled my test for December 31st, and I promised myself, I was like, you know, this will be your gift to yourself. This will be the way that you start off your new year. You know, you're gonna leave all the negativity, all that just laziness and all of that. We leaving that in 2014. And I promised myself that when I pass this test, because I better have passed it, that's the me that I wanted to be moving forward. So yeah, I would never forget this day. I go in there and I'm so nervous. Like, I just remember sitting in my car and I called my pastor, because I always call him with my life decisions. So I'm like, I'm about to go in here. I'm so scared. I'm so nervous. Blah blah blah. I can't not pass it this time. Like, I was just so I was so determined, but I was just so nervous at the same time, because mind you, this is round 3 now, and I'm just like, I have to pass it. So I'm like, I got my go-getter, you gotta kill this on one shoulder, and then I have that, oh my god, what if I don't, on the next shoulder. But so I'm trying to like dust her off. So I'm calling my pastor and I'm like, I'm about to go in, here we go, whatever. So he pumping me up. He like, you know, you got this, Jaimee, you gonna kill it. I'm like, I am. I'm gonna kill it, okay. Not knowing. So I go in there to take my test, and I put that last answer in again. Y'all, I'm getting emotional right now. Y'all wanna know my new score? So let's recap. We started off at a 71, and then 30 days later we went to a 72. This time around, y'all, dun, 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 drum roll please, 91. Okay, period. So I literally jumped 20 entire points from my first test, y'all. Do you know? I could barely contain myself. Like, as soon as I got out that building, I was hollering and screaming. I called him and I'm like, I passed. And he's like, okay, I knew that was gonna happen. Like, what's up? What's up? How you feel? And I'm like, oh my god. Yeah, I got in the car and I just bawled. I was just crying and I was just so grateful. Like, oh my god, finally. So I finally got my score back. I finally have passed this dreaded test, and now I can apply to nursing school. So you think the struggle is over there, don't you? That's cute. It's not. Continue listening. So I'm applying for nursing schools. Remind you, I've taken this test now 3 times, and I was successful on the 3rd attempt. A lot of the nursing schools that I wanted to go to and that I was applying to, or that I wanted to apply to, they only allow you to take the entrance exam 2 times. You got 2 tries, and then after that, you're no longer a candidate. Okay, so I was already X'd out from a ton of nursing schools, and the ones that I could still apply to, it was like some, not junior colleges, community colleges. They were like some community colleges, and then Lamar University, home. So Lamar was the BSN program. The community colleges, no shade to community college, I would have went there and been just fine, but I would have only been able to have my ADN there, and then I would have had, which is my associate's degree in nursing versus my bachelor's. So I would have ended up having to go back to school again to get my bachelor's, and I just didn't want that. I wanted to be one and done. Found out that Lamar didn't care how many times I took the test, okay? They just wanted to know that I could pass it. So I was like, okay, perfect. I'm looking up all the requirements. I'm getting my paperwork together. And lo and behold, yet another obstacle, of course. So while I'm like getting all my stuff together to apply, I'm reading the requirements, I'm checking off my checklist, and then I get to the prereqs for Lamar University. Mind you, I've taken my prereqs, I've done everything, so I thought. But Lamar was a little bougie. For this school, you actually needed 2 extra classes that I didn't have for my prereqs. So I saw that and I was just like, okay, so whatever. I gotta take a couple more classes. Let's do it. And then I keep reading and it's like, not only do you have to take these 2 classes, but you have to take these 2 classes here with us at Lamar University. So then I'm kind of like, okay. So just to give you some reference, I'm from Houston, Texas. Lamar University is in Beaumont, Texas. Those are about an hour and 30 minutes away. So it's not even like it was something I could drive to class and then come back. No. The classes were a Monday through Friday schedule because it was during the summer and I had to take it there. I had to basically pick up my life and move to Beaumont only to be able to apply to the nursing program. So, you know, I was working a job. I wasn't like a dream job. It was far from that. But I mean, it was still money. It was still making ends meet. Like, hello. So this was just something I had to like really consider. I had to really just weigh my options. Like, am I going to take that risk to quit my job, pay all this money, because you know school's not cheap and it's definitely not free. I would have not only had to pay for the classes I had to take, but I have to pay for somewhere to live once I get there. You know, what will I do for money once I get there? Like, it was just a lot of stressors at one time. So again, I call my pastor and I'm like, I'm back in a bind. And I'm explaining everything to him, and he's the type of person, like, he's never gonna tell you what to do, like, ever. He listens, you know, he lets me get out all my feelings and emotions, and then when I'm done, he's just like, okay, so what are you gonna do? And I'm like, I don't know, that's why I'm here on the phone with you. And he's just like, no, you make the decision. He was like, you know, I trust that you'll make the best decision, but sleep on it, think about it, and tell me what you come up with. And I'm just like, again, like, why do I keep having to make decisions? Like, adulting 101 decision making. Like, I wasn't ready. So I like slept on it, I thought about it, I weighed the pros and the cons. You know, the pro is if I get in, you know, if I take these classes and I apply and possibly get in, then I can finally start my life and be in a BSN program. And then, oh, I forgot to mention, I had applied to those other community colleges and already gotten acceptance letters from those colleges. So I could have went there for the 2-year degree, but I just really was pushing for my BSN. So on the other hand, I'm just like, but what if? And I'm like getting in my head, I'm like, so many things could go wrong. I quit my job, so now I'm out of a job, I don't have any money. I pack up and I pay all this money for somewhere to stay. I pay all this money for the class, and I can possibly still get rejected. Like, I'm a crazy person if I do this. That's what I'm thinking at the time. So I just went back and forth, you know, and I just really had to make my decision. And so I slept on it, I thought about it, and when I woke up the next morning, I just felt like my mind was made up. I was like, you know what, this is what I'm gonna do, and I'm gonna do it with my chest. Like, say it with your chest. I gotta say it with my chest. Like, decision made, over, done, is happening. So I called him. I don't know if it was the next day or some days later, but I called him, you know. I was like, okay, I made a decision. And he's like, let me hear it. And so I tell him, and he was like, all right, that's what I'm talking about. I knew you would do it. And I'm like, I'm scared. And he's like, don't worry, like, you good. God got you. You good. Back to the drawing board once more. So with Lamar, I applied for financial aid, and they covered majority, if not all, of the classes, because it was 2 classes, and I would be able to start. So the thing I had to think about was finding somewhere to live. I was only going to be there for like 4 to 6 weeks. So I'm like, okay, clearly I can't go and get like an apartment. So the only thing left to do was to move in the freaking dorms. And mind you, I'm like 23 at this time. I've been back home in Houston, like just living my life. And you're telling me I have to go back and live in a dorm? I have to share space with somebody I don't know again? I have to share a bathroom? Like, what? It was horrible, but I made my mind up, and I had to make it do what it does. So I had to pay for the dorm. It was like around $1,400 just for the little 4 to 6 weeks. So I come up with the money, and I go to pay it or whatever, and I'm just like, oh my god, this is real now. Money's involved. It's for real. So I then have to just pack up life as I knew it, and I got in my little car and I hit I-10 East and made it to Beaumont. So I'm there, I'm grinding, you know, I'm back in action, just everything in my power, because at this point, what am I going back to? To Houston, back to Houston, back to a call center job, making a little to nothing? Like, no, I gotta get ever. So what they did at Lamar was they let you apply for the program once you were already in the classes. I applied or whatever, and I'm still taking the class, and I'm just like awaiting, like waiting on a letter. So I will never forget, we were in classes one day, and I overheard some of my classmates like talking about getting their letters. Some got accepted, some didn't, because at Lamar you can either get accepted, denied, or you can get waitlisted. So I heard people like talking about it, chitter chatter, and oh my god, my heart fell to my butt, and I was just like, they already giving out letters? Like, what? Because I'm thinking I had to finish the whole class before, you know, they ever sent anything. But no, lo and behold, they sent out acceptance and denial letters while we were still in class. So everybody's like, yeah, I received it in the mail, blah blah blah. So I'm like, I gotta get home and check this doggone mail. So I would never forget, that same weekend I hit that dusty road and I went home to Houston, and I'm just checking the mail like every day, checking the mail, and I got nothing. Like, nothing was in the mail for me. So I finally got to the point where I was just like, you know what, I'm over it. Like, it's gonna come when it's gonna come, and it's gonna say what it's gonna say. It's above me now. It was above me. I just put it in God's hands, and I was just like, I've done what I could do. I've done my best. I've took risk. Like, I did what I can do. it's above me. Literally. So this was just an ordinary day. The sun was shining, the sky was blue, and I just went outside to check the mail, like whatever, regular day. Wasn't expecting nothing, wasn't looking for anything, none of that. And I opened the mailbox, and along with all the other envelopes and stuff, it was this really, really big manila envelope. And so I'm like, that's odd. So that was the first like key, or the first hint or whatever, and I was just like, okay. So I put the envelope to the front, and I look, and it says my name, and it has a sticker like Lamar University, Beaumont, you know, Beaumont, Texas, whatever. So I'm like, oh, this is it. I started freaking out, but I was like, you know what, hold it together, hold it together, hold it together. So I didn't know what it said, so I'm like, okay. I went in the house, went upstairs to my little room, and I was just like, I said a little prayer like, God, please let this be what I need it to be. And I just kind of like, I would never forget this day, y'all. I would never forget this day. I just like slowly opened it, and I pulled out the letter. I don't know what it started off with. I just went all the way to the end, and I saw that it said, we are pleased to inform you that you have been accepted into. From there, I just lost it. I remember I was in my room. I ran out of my room, and I was like screaming and jumping around, like, started crying. And I remember my stepdad, he was upstairs in like his little man cave or whatever. So I come in there with him, and I'm like jumping and dancing around and crying, and he looking at me like, what's going on? You okay? And I'm like, I got accepted, I got accepted. But he jumping around with me, cheering, excited for me, and I'm just like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. Y'all, crazy. Like, I was just so excited. Then I had to tell everybody, and everybody was just celebrating, and it was just a good time. So I just basically said all that to say, whatever you want to do it. Put your mind to it and crush it. Like, people really don't give the mind enough credit, because it can literally change your life. Just a thought. So you change your mindset, right? Put your mind on something you want. Eventually, then your thoughts will follow. After that, you know, you thinking something, you thinking you can do something. After that, your actions will start to follow that. And then once your actions follow that, then you'll see everything that you're working hard for, everything that you want, come into fruition. So don't give up. You know, it wasn't an easy journey to get here, and look at me now, okay? A whole registered nurse. I've been so for a year now, and that's why I'm just like so appreciative for what I do now, because it just was not, okay, not an easy process whatsoever. You know, I went through a lot, and it was just a lot of downfalls and a lot of disappointments, but when I finally like achieved it, it was just like no greater feeling in the world to know that you worked so hard for something, to know that all that you went through and you still come out on top. So I'm not gonna get emotional. So yes, that was my little story for the day, and my advice is just whatever you want, go after that, don't quit, and nothing worth having comes easy. So if you've made it to the end of this video, thank you. I appreciate you so much for caring about my long overdue story, because I'm sure this will be a lengthy video. But if you did make it to the end, go ahead and leave me a comment so that I'll know I'm not wasting my time. Thank you so much. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Comment your thoughts down below. Tell me about a difficult time in your life and how you overcame. And until next time, stay beautiful. Bye.